Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of May 5th through the 9th. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame for 8 tickers and have a gap recap from April 28th through May 2nd, and I will also update the chart. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is NEO. We ended the week at $4.03, up 2.54%. This is where we ended. To the north side takes us to 2 standard deviations and another level of resistance and a potential take profit area at roughly 409. Above that, at 3 standard deviations, is roughly 415, and at 4 standard deviations, that lines up with a gap closure to the upside at $4.22. Back to the middle of the trend, and the baseline takes us to roughly 395. That is support. If we hit this line, I will anticipate a bounce off of it, or we could fall past that line and make our way down following this green line. We are still in a downward channel. Below that, at -2 standard deviations and another level of support and a potential buy-in area and a potential stop loss area. That's 381-ish, 374, and 367. Looking left, you can see the clear bounce at support, clear sell-off at resistance, and chopping along sideways at this previous middle of the trend at 402. Notice how we bounced off of that and bounced again slightly going sideways. Now, there is a gap to be aware of to the south side, and that will take us down to 376. That will likely touch on Monday, and if we continue to go south, that could also close close out on Monday. I have allergies still that are killing me. All right, we had a nasty windstorm yesterday. So this takes us down to 376. It starts at 383. And what else happened this week from here to here? I'm just recapping. And this gap opened up out of the gate on Monday, and we touched on Tuesday or Wednesday. So congrats if you made money going short. And what happened to this gap? This was an extension, and we touched it right here when we gapped down. That filled it as well on Wednesday, the 30th of April. And that we gapped down, so that means we filled to the upside, took us out at 417 to the upside. Excuse me. All right. This gap is still in play, and that opened up on the 30th. And this one, I will extend it out. Again, all I'm doing is looking at this period, Monday to Friday, and right now it tells me that the channel is still going downward, as you can see. So I have no idea when this is going to touch, but I can estimate that will touch on Monday if we continue our trajectory downward. All right, I think that is it. And there we have a gap to the upside at 456 and later at 453. The next one. Oh, one other thing. Oh, look at this. So last week we started at 403. We gapped up. Here's a clear resistance area, take profit area as well, and then we gave it all back. And then we went down for a buy-in signal, and now we just ended where we started. And thus is the market. It whips you around, and then you give it all back. And then it gives you an opportunity to buy in cheaper, and then if you're day trading, it's wonderful to get off the gravy train. All right, the next one is Rivn. We ended the week at 1383, up 0.5%. This is where we are. The middle of the trend takes us now to 1412, 1452. This 1476 was an old price target. 1472. And then, should we be so lucky to get to this level, but don't hold your breath, that will be 1493. And to the south side, one level of support, 1371, 1350, and another buy-in area, 1330 as well. My goodness. I got a squeaky chair here too. So what happened last week? Let's review. We had this gap close out right where a previous middle of the trend line was. And did it close there? Let me extend that to see. Did it really touch? No. Did it touch here? It looks like it did, but did it? Yeah, this one I'm going to give that as a win for Wednesday the 30th. And that took us up to 1353. Okay, that gap is done. What about this gap? When did it touch? Oh, let me show you. Just going back, that opened up on the 2nd of April, taking us to 1326. And that touched right there roughly on Monday the 28th. So this is no longer in play. Congrats if you went long to the upside, 1326. It started at 1326. Delete that one as well. Very nice. Oh, this one, I got to delete that, 1353. Okay, those two gaps have been cleaned up. And what else? Oh, we had this gap that took us down to 12. Oh, no, it never closed. Look at this. This gap is still in play, taking us down to 1265 whenever we reverse course. This gap is still in play, moving farther away from it as well. And what, is there another gap? Is that it? Oops. Let me flip this to the 1 hour. Do we have another gap? I've tracked this for a very long time. Yes, we do. Up to 17. Oh, nope. Another one to 23. Okay. I will be tracking this ticker for a very long time because I keep this on my gap and go trades and my watch list here until it closes. Last week, if you'll recall, I removed Unilever because it hit the target that I have been watching for reversal. And whenever we touch 2334, I will drop this ticker off of the list right now. My list has been shortened down to 8. I think I tracked like 20 at one point, but every time it hits, I remove it, and I haven't added any new ones lately because 8 is a lot to track. All right, so that will be it for Rivn. So last week we were at 1262 and we ended at 1382. So let me get rid of the magnet. 12, what did I say? 1262. All right, 1262 is right about there. And 1383 is a 9% return, but if you got off right here at the clear resistance line, that's a 12% return. So congrats on that if you were in the trade. And all these lines have, on the way down, the purple lines turn into support, as well as the red, white, and blue and green lines. Next one, Boeing. Let me put this back to the 5-minute. Okay, we ended the week at 185.46, up 1.41%. Resistance and the middle of the trend, which is close to where we've been before. I'll remove that line in a second. Roughly 186.52. Resistance 188.72, and a stop limit area potentially, depends on what you like to do, 189.91 and 190.96. To the south side lines up with a gap roughly at 184.22. It's to the downside. That gap will close out at 183.16, but -3 is very close to there, 183.08, and roughly to an area we've already been, 181.91. The yellow lines are from markings from 2024. All right, we are still in an upward channel. Oh, by the way, let me just give you one other thing to think about. So we are right here at 185. Let me see if I can get my, okay. 185. The middle of the trend is at one, like I said, 185.57-ish. By the end of the week, if we continue to go up, we could be at 194.60 for the middle, and then the outer band 196.74 and potentially 192.26, 191.13, and 190.01. All right. So let's see the outer band again. Oops, there is. Did I get sidetracked? Yeah, 191.03. Okay. Well, if I didn't do it, now I can't even remember. 189-ish, 188-ish, the middle of the trend there to the south side. Oh, no, I did all of that. Okay, because let me just mark this. That will take us down to roughly there. Okay, and down here is 181.90. All right, so clear resistance and then going to support, falling down there. This is the middle of the trend. If we are down here and we hit that line, that turns into resistance. We fell down, and then this line also acted as support. Resistance here. Okay, looking left, this gap closed on the 30th of April, taking us down to 178.19 rather. Oops, wrong line. There we go. Delete. And the clear bounce at support. So last week we were at 177.95, and this week we ended at 185.46. Now the new middle of the trend, like I said, is here, and this one is so close to it that I'm going to remove it. But when did I mark that out? I marked out that purple line on February the 18th. So I'm going to delete this so it doesn't look so cluttered. So we've got a gap that's in play. Oh, look at that, to 196.09. And then after that, we got another one to 210. Don't hold your breath. That's going to be a long ways off. Oh, and then this gap opened up to the south side, taking us to 163.06. Excuse me. All right. The next one is Intel. Oh my goodness, I almost had to sneeze. I am just a hot mess here. Allergies, allergies. Okay, 2062 is where we ended, up 3.2%. To the north side, I know this looks messy, but it will make sense in a moment. 2107, 2138, and 2170. To the south side, this is very close to it, so I'm going to delete that in a second, but let me mark out the new one. 2043, 1978, roughly 1947, and roughly 1914. Okay, so as far as gaps go, while I'm down here, let me show you. This one will take us to 1888. I bought down here at 1839. All right, so that's done, that's done. What happened? All I'm doing is cleaning up this week to this week. So this gap, because I extended, I have no idea where it's going to touch. It did right there on Thursday. So one day gap fill took us to 2031. What happened with this? Let me move, oops, let me move this thing. Oops, new. All right, oh, look at this. I never cleaned this up on Thursday the 24th. So that actually touched right here. So that's done. That took us down to roughly 2066. It filled where we got Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, 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 no. That's, yeah, that's a gap fill. We went down to go up. Okay, so that touched right here. So that is correct. And this gap is in play to the upside at 21.42. Let me mark that. Turn that green. Let's turn this the other shade of green. All right. This gap is still in play to the downside, taking us to 2013. All right, and then, like I said, this is the middle of the trend, so this is very close, so I'm going to get rid of that. That started on Monday, the April 7th. Let me just delete it and get it out of the way. Oop, yeah, there we go. Okay, so the previous week, the middle of the trend was at 20.05. We're now at 20.62, inching our way up. And then, oops, Command Z. This puppy right here will take us to 29.02. Let me extend that. And then we have this gap within that gap. All right, looking good there. Where am I? Oh, I only did this for a short trade, and I'm in this longer than I anticipated because I forgot to sell out because I was so busy. 20.62. I'm up 12%. Not too shabby. I'll take it all day long. So maybe, but then there's this little gap fill that I really would love to have complete. Okay, so that's it. Sofi. Still going down, but really sideways as well. 1270 is where we ended, up 1.52%. 1316, 1351, 1385. 1248, 1179, and to an area we've been before, roughly 1112. We have this gap still in play, taking us down to 1073, this one to 1129. And this gap already filled. Let's clean it up. Opened up on Friday the 25th, and we touched on Wednesday the 30th. So congrats if you played it to the south side. Done. And this gap needs to be cleaned up as well. Oops, we did touch it. Right there. So congrats on that one. That took us to 1307. Closed out on roughly the 28th. Oops, wrong thing. That is the 20, oh no, Friday the, yeah, let me be more precise here. Was that Monday? Yeah. Okay, delete. And where did this one touch? We touched right here on Tuesday, the 29th of April, delete. Oops, gosh darn it. Congrats on that one as well. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that touched right there. That is the one I need to delete. Okay. And now this one is still in play for the upcoming week. Again, I'm just looking from here to here. We are still going down. The middle of the trend by the end of the week could be 1166 and all the way down to 1031. Okay. And the next one takes us to, oops. Nike. 58.59 is where we ended, up 3.22%. 59.24, 60.01, don't hold your breath, 60.76. And to the south side, very close to where we have been last week. That's crazy. Well, not really. We've been whipped around so much with this. 56.25, 55.50, and 54.74. You can see we are slowly grinding upward. All right. As far as the gaps, this one, oh, yep, we have a gap that opened up right here. Well, let me turn my magnet. Should be red because that's a fill to the downside. And that closed on Friday the 2nd, roughly there. And that took us up to 57.51. This gap will take us to 65 bucks and beyond. That will take us to roughly 71 bucks. And then why did I mark this? Because that, oops. Oh, that was a gap here. That's just a tiny one, yeah. And it filled right there, taking us to 58.40 or 30-ish at the lower end, and then 48. So congrats if you went long there and hit it. And I think that is it for Nike. There are no gaps that I know of to the south side. If you see one, please let me know and I'll update the chart again. Tsly. 8.56 is where we ended. Okay, new middle of the trend, 8.57. 8.76, 8.85, 8.96. Support, 8.37, 8.26, and 8.16 are your targets for the week. This gap is still in play, taking us to 8.83. Let me move that out of the way. Oh, that one closed out right out of the gate on Monday. It touched, did it touch right there? Let's stretch this out to see. Yeah, it touched it, but it didn't close it. It officially closed, I'm going to say right there on the 28th. So congrats if you got in and went long, closing out at 8.41. This gap is, I'm going to delete this one. This one confuses me. Too many things. So this gap here at 8.57, oh yeah, I'd have to delete it anyway because we hit it. And actually, upon closer examination, is it this one? No, gosh darn it. It's this one. Okay, we actually touched it right there, taking us to 8.56. Congrats. Okay. Yeah, every time I feel like I'm getting better, the wind whips up and then my allergies kick in again. This tickled it, but hasn't closed out. No cigar. And I think that is it. Okay, we do have a gap to the south side, taking us to 7.98. I've bought in at a couple different times, $7, $7.93. Oh, that was my dividend payout. I just marked it out just for giggles. This gap to the south side still in play, as well as this one. Okay. And this gap is done, touched on Thursday the 1st. All right. Then we have a gap after that to the north side at 9:30, and we are in an upward channel. So right here is the middle of the trend. By the end of the week, we could climb to 8.95. And to the south side, ooh, since we're in upward channel, the bottom could be here. Well, we could wick down here and then run back up. All right, that's Tsly. And finally, Estee Lauder. We are, oh, no. Okay, resistance takes us to 59.83, 60.43, and 60.99 to the south side. That would be roughly 58.64, 57.48, 56.89, and 56.29. This gap is still in play to the south side at $56. It'll close. We had good earnings there. This will take us to 54.48. And we have gaps to the north side to fill whenever we reverse course. But right now, people are taking their profits and they're locking in and leaving. But it will reverse again. We just have to close out these two gaps. All right, that does it for me. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of May 5th through the 9th. Again, I removed Unilever. It hit all the targets I've been tracking. And I also sold out of that. And then I do have some shares that I have kept. But that's it. Have a great trading week.